It's me again, feeling a little bit uneasy and kind of think that the staff are acting a little bit strangely at this ward that I'm at. Let me just take you through this Facebook post. I'll add this video to the Facebook post. But yeah, I just posted on Facebook a brief narrative of events, right? And this is what's concerning me at the moment. So I'm trying to get an early night. I wrote this a little while ago. I turned off the lights about 15 minutes ago. I started writing this about 9:10. I've just been down getting a drink and talking to the staff. And almost straight away, a support worker arrived and shone his torch through the frosted privacy glass in my door. The whole room was illuminated for about 30 seconds, like it is every time they do the observations with the torch. But for some reason, the guy acted as though he couldn't see me, which is kind of weird. He then began gently knocking on the door and verbally asking me if I was okay. Sort of fits with what's starting to become a bit of a pattern, where every time the staff check on me in my room, well, like today anyway, they do so in such a way as to maintain plausible deniability that if reviewed on the CCTV, it could be claimed that I'm actually not in the room. It sounds a little bit weird, but they're not opening the door or opening the glass or entering the room. They're just knocking on the door and verbally asking me if I'm in the room, which obviously without the CCTV recording audio could make it look like I'm not. It says in addition to this, when the night shift staff began their shift, they do what's called a head count. They do this like every single time they start a shift on a psych ward, right? They're gonna go round to every single bedroom and they open the door with the nurse running the shift and a support worker, and they say, "Hello, good evening, how are you doing? Yeah, we're starting the night shift now. This is the nurse in charge." And they do a head count for like fire safety and for insurance purposes. And so they do this thing called a head count. This is where they go to find each patient. I'm normally chilling in my room at 8 p.m. and was this evening, and introduced a registered mental health nurse who's acting as clinical lead for the shift, almost always accompanied by a support worker. Usually they'll open the door, say hello, ask how patients are doing, and remind them that evening medication rounds will be starting soon. This usually gets underway at about 8:25. That's the meds, that is, once the head count's completed. For some reason, there was no visit to my room to complete the head count or introduce the nurse responsible for my safety this evening, which, in addition to the observation guy apparently suffering some kind of visual impairment, meaning that he somehow needed to knock on the door after establishing a clear line of sight of me sat in my bed, is more than a little weird. I asked my Alexa to confirm the time and where I was on my YouTube video, Wastecast, this evening. I'd recorded that at about 7:30. But within seconds, it was kicked off the Wi-Fi network, the Signet Q-Stoke guest Wi-Fi network. The Alexa was just disconnected straight away. Had to put back in my username and password, which I've got on this piece of paper, which I keep in my drawer. And yeah, then I just picked up my phone. I turned off the lights, and like you do, you kind of at like about 10 to 9, and tried to get an early night because I didn't sleep very well last night. I picked up the phone to begin writing this status. The phone had also been disconnected from the hospital Wi-Fi. It just said something like acquiring IP address over the bit where it's got like Signet guest Wi-Fi. However, it's connected again now, but there's definitely a pattern emerging of events which would fit quite aptly to establish a false narrative of me not being in room 2 at Signet Q-Stoke Hospital's Lodge rehab unit. So just to itinerise and summarise, staff have been repeatedly using verbal prompts at my bedroom door. They've been doing this all day instead of opening the door and looking through the window. The guy just did my observations and basically pretended he couldn't see me when shining his torch to the window. Like he was there for about 25-30 seconds, shining the torch through. I'll show you in a sec. I'll show you the window and stuff in a second. And then he knocked on the door, like, hello, hello. And he said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah." And that was that. And he walked off. But to the CCTV, it could have looked like he looked through the window, saw that nobody was there, and then, So, it's just a little bit unusual. And I was missed out of the usual evening shift introduction and head count. This is like, for insurance purposes, the first thing they do is they go down and make sure every patient is present and correct, and that they're okay, and normally prompt them for their evening meds. They do like evening medication rounds for most patients. It's a fundamental part of commencing a shift for insurance and safety purposes. My Echo Show Alexa was disconnected from the Wi-Fi after I recorded it asking my time and location. And my Samsung Galaxy S24 FE also got kicked off the Wi-Fi. Here's that video. Signet enforce a blanket ban. This is about energy drinks and security cupboard. But are my concerns about ulterior motives proportionate? I don't reckon that's had very many views. I look like some addled, or 8 views from here. Why might it be limited? I don't know why it's limited. Let's have a look on YouTube. Just quickly. 7 views 2 hours ago I uploaded that. It's 9:58 now. I've got quite a good app which might be useful. I mean, first of all, we can just go to Google Maps. That shows exactly where I am. It's not like photoshopped. It says the accuracy is low. That's the building that I'm in. That's my room 2. It's just actually about there is room 2. It says that I'm outside, which I'm not. Yeah, I've also got another app which might work, which is a bit more advanced. I don't know what any of this shit means, but it should be able to tell you. It thinks it's the 28th of January 2025, which is a bit shit, and it's still initializing. Maybe it doesn't work. Fuck knows. Here's some more data, raw data. Don't know what any of this shit means at all. Not a bit of a technophobe. There's a plot of some data. Don't know what that means. I don't know what any of this shit means. Map, that's a good one. History, device and sim. Let's have a look there. Operator ID. I've got an O2 SIM and a 3 SIM in my phone. Anyway, I don't want this video to be too long, but just for the purposes of this video, I'll just show you. So this is the privacy glass that he looked through with his torch. So he went into here and looked through here to see me on my bed, which with a torch you can see pretty easily if somebody's on the bed just there. And yeah, they've been doing it all day. This is like outside. See the sign there. There's my TV aerial. There's the front door. And here's me in my room, but that's an 8-minute video. So I'm going to pop this on YouTube, and hopefully I won't be falsely claimed to be somewhere else. Yeah, random.